Well, there's a lot happening in the world these days, and news and just life in general can be stressful.
True story. That's why we try to spend some time each week revisiting kind of the good stories that we've been covering around Maine specifically. We'll start here with the Searsmont Strong movement. During the town's Memorial Day parade, people in Searsmont making sure to honor those affected by this month's fire and explosion at the Robbins Lumber Mill. That incident killed volunteer firefighter Andrew Cross, injured dozens of others. Yesterday, Robbins lumber trucks filled the streets with signs reading Searsmont Strong while thanking the community for all of its support. Searsmont residents say it really felt important to just get out there and have everybody come together.
I think having all our first responders and firefighters that came today to come up front and honor them also, along with our fallen, veterans, was a great tribute to this town and to all their hard work.
The town does have a Robbins Lumber Fire Relief Fund to support those who were impacted. If you want to donate to that, you can contact the Searsmont Town Office. Communities all across the state finding ways to support the people of the Searsmont area.
Over the weekend, a memorial for a first responder who died last year helped raise donations for that cause. Our Drew Peters has more.
He meant everything. We were together almost 25 years.
There are few words that Nancy Gannon Bond says could describe her husband, Jim.
He was a larger-than-life presence.
A presence there when you needed a laugh.
We had a blast.
Or when your life was on the line.
The call come off in the middle of the night, 3 in the morning. My husband would get up and go to places unknown, and he'd be the first one on scene going to the fire.
Hundreds of calls that Jim would answer during his 41 years as an Acton volunteer firefighter.
Jimmy was the guy you would follow into a burning building.
For 21 of those years, Mike Conway was right by Jim's side.
He had the ability to just see the world through other people's eyes, and if they were hurting, he wanted to be able to get in there and help them.
A legacy of service his loved ones are hoping to carry on after his battle with cancer.
When my husband passed away on Christmas Day, my house was full of volunteers, and I am so blessed to be able to help with this and give back.
A memorial honoring Jim and giving back to fellow first responders who answered the call to the deadly fire and explosion at Robbins Lumber in Searsmont.
They lost that young volunteer firefighter, and there are several people still suffering in hospitals with severe burns, that this is exactly what Jimmy would have wanted.
Friends and family piling in more than $5,000 in donations and sharing a toast at Jim's favorite bar.
A great friend and an incredible fireman.
Just like he would have wanted.
If this happened to be somebody else, Jim would have been the first guy here. It was a giver.
A giver to his community and his family.
It makes me feel like I'm doing something to help Jimmy and live on with what he would want to do.
In Acton, Drew Peters, News Center, Maine.
Students with special needs are getting some extra support to explore future careers. More than 100 middle and high schoolers took part in the I Belong Youth Summit in Auburn last week. They met with more than a dozen employers and trade organizations. Federal labor data shows fewer than 40% of people with disabilities are employed. State officials say most can work with some support.
The more that we can encourage businesses and show businesses that our students have so much to offer, regardless of their abilities or challenges, the better off we are as a state overall.
The event was sponsored by the Maine Department of Education's Office of Special Services and Inclusive Education. Leaders say they hope to eventually expand the summit to other parts of the state as well. While many teenagers spend their time on sports or video games, a 13-year-old from Brewer is following a different path.
Yeah, Dorian Pillsbury started finding ways to support his community during the COVID-19 pandemic and never stopped doing it. As News Maine's Vivian Lee shows us, his generosity is now inspiring others to get involved and give back.
Dorian Pillsbury and his mom, Lisa, pick up desserts and drinks donated by their local grocery store, Paradise Shop and Save.
So I've got crackers and chips.
These treats are for teen night at the Boys and Girls Club of Bangor. Dorian began helping others in second grade, raising money to buy snacks for classmates who didn't have any during COVID.
Okay, let's get it.
With his mom's support, he's kept giving ever since.
We put smiles on a bunch of people's faces because that was really my concern back then, was people weren't smiling enough, and I really wanted to change that.
You don't need an age and you don't need a title, right? Like, you don't. You just need a heart and you need a problem and you need to go solve it.
Dorian began organizing yearly projects, collecting hundreds of cereal boxes, birthday cake mixes, and other supplies for local food pantries. As a baseball player, he raised $2,000 for a new PA system for Brewer's Little League. Dorian, also known as D-Max, raised money to buy a year's supply of teddy bears for kids and the after-school program, giving them out on birthdays at the Boys and Girls Club of Bangor. He also raised funds to buy bikes for the club's teens. Club officials say Dorian's kindness is making a real difference for the kids.
But it's also just like really comforting for them. You know, it's not this big adult, maybe they don't know, you know what I mean? It's coming from someone just like them.
Dorian wrote a children's book called D-Max's Birthday Wish, a story about caring for others, empathy, and leadership. He reads it to students at local schools. He has received awards for his community service and was recently named Outstanding Youth in Philanthropy for Northern New England. His mom is creating a framework in the meantime to help schools and nonprofits teach others to follow Dorian's example.
It's more just loving one another and really making sure people have the needs to live and live comfortably.
It's something we could all live by. In Brewer, Vivian Lee, News Center, Maine.
Dorian is homeschooled, and that lets him do all this fundraising in his schedule as well. You can find all information about him. Like I said, go to our website. You'll see the story. You can help. He's a great kid doing crazy, amazing things.
Yeah,
so I love that story.
and it seems to spiral up, right? The more
just
he
watching
does,
it, I'm
the
just
more,
like, oh, like I want to do that too. No,
Yeah.
or really have my kids do that. But anyway, that's it for the plus side.
We'll be right back.